Data handling. What is a pictograph? A pictograph is a way of giving information using pictures. Each picture in a pictograph gives us information. We use pictographs when we have lot of information. Let us see what a pictograph looks like and how to read the pictograph. Priya, Aarti, Sanju and Karan have some packets of biscuits. They have made a chart to show how many packets each one has. Let us count the number of packets that each one of them has. How many packets does Priya have? This is the way to see Priya's entry. There are 4 symbols. Each symbol stands for 5 packets. So, we multiply the symbol by 5 packets. We get the answer. 4 multiplied by 5, which is equal to 20. How many packets does Aarti have? 2 multiplied by 5 packets, which is equal to 10 packets. How many packets does Sanju have? Only 1 packet. So, 1 multiplied by 5 packets is equal to 5 packets. How many packets does Karan have? 5 packets. 5 multiplied by 5 packets is equal to 25 packets. Next problem. Number of cars washed on different days. How many cars were washed on Friday? Pictograph shows 4 symbols. One symbol represents 5 cars. So, 4 multiplied by 5, which is equal to 20 cars were washed on Friday. How many cars were washed on Saturday? Pictograph shows 9 symbols. One symbol represents 5 cars. 9 multiplied by 5, which is equal to 45 cars were washed on Saturday. How many cars were washed on Sunday? Pictograph shows 7 symbols. One symbol represents 5 cars. Therefore, 7 multiplied by 5, which is equal to 35 cars, were washed on Sunday. On which day were the maximum number of cars washed at the station? Pictograph shows the most symbols for Saturday. Therefore, maximum cars were washed on Saturday. On which day were the minimum number of cars washed at the station? Pictograph shows the least symbols for Friday. Therefore, minimum cars were washed on Friday. How many more cars were washed on Saturday than Friday? Pictograph shows 5 extra symbols on Saturday. One symbol represents 5 cars. Therefore, 5 multiplied by 5, which is equal to 25 extra cars washed on Saturday than Friday. Look at the chart which shows how many farmers planting different crops in a village. We have to make a pictograph of this data. We can show a symbol like a farmer to show the number of farmers. Now look at the first entry, each of sugar cane, and we can see 90 farmers. Now having 90 farmers pictures is not a good idea. It's too many pictures and it is difficult to count. So we can decide that one picture would be more than one farmer. Then the number of pictures would be less. So let us start. How many farmers should stand for one farmer picture? Look at the number of farmers that we have. The numbers are 90, 30, 90 and 60. Looking at the numbers, I would say one farmer picture will stand for 10 farmer picture. Now, let us decide how many pictures we need to draw for each. 90 farmers of sugarcane will have 90 divided by 10, which is equal to 9 pictures. 30 farmers of wheat will have 30 divided by 10, which is 3 pictures. 90 farmers of vegetables will have 90 divided by 10, which is equal to 9. And 60 farmers of oil seeds will have 60 divided by 10, which is equal to 6. We likely write the number of images that we need. So let us now put the images and make it a proper pictograph. We make space for images and then we go on putting the images in each crop. And the pictograph is ready. Let's take a look at another one. Let us make a pictograph of different kinds of books in a library. We have to make a pictograph of this data. We can choose a good symbol like a book to show the number of books. Now, look at the first entry. It is of the storybook and we can see 250 books. Now, having 250 books, pictures is not a good idea. It's too many pictures and it is difficult to count. So, we can decide that one picture would be more than one book. Then, the number of pictures would be less. So, let us start. How many books should stand for one book picture? Look at the number of books that we have. The numbers are 250, 200, 100, 50 and 150. So, looking at the numbers, I would say one book picture stands for 50 books. You can even do one book picture for 10 books, but that's still lot of pictures. So, I choose 50 for this pictograph. Now, let us divide how many pictures we need to draw for each. We know we have to divide each entry by 50 now. We do that for each entry and get the number of pictures. We are now ready to put the pictures and make it a proper pictograph. We make space for the images, then we go on putting the images for each book. Next problem. Look at this table. This gives you number of students of a particular class who like different seasons. 12 like rainy season, 5 like autumn, 10 summer, 13 winter. Can you represent the data in the form of pictograph? Let me help you. For a pictograph, first we need a picture. Here is my picture, smiley. One picture represents 2 students. If I have to represent one student, yes, I will need half the picture. Here is our table. Rainy season, there are 12 students. So, how many pictures do we need? Yes, each picture represents 2 students. So, we need 6 such smileys. Now, move to autumn. There are 5 students. So, how many pictures do we need? Yes, 2.5. 2 pictures for 4 students. And we are talking about 5 students. So, we need one more student. That I discussed, that means half smiley. Summer 10 students, so 5 pictures. Winter 13 students, so 6 complete pictures for 12 students and half a picture again. Bar graphs. I used to convey information such as cricket scores, votes obtained in elections, weather forecast, rainfall, literacy, population, and many more such things. Now take a look at this graph. This graph is made up of bars, so it is called a bar graph. As you can see, all the bars have same width and equally spaced each other. However, each bar has a different height. It is the height of the bar that tells us its value here. We know that this graph shows us the average runs that batsmen made in each year. As you can see, the average has changed every year. You can quickly see how it has changed, how it has increased or decreased over the years. This is the very easy way of analyzing information. Such a presentation of data is known as a bar diagram or a bar graph. Do you think it is easy to analyze information presented like this? Yes, you can quickly say at a glance in which year the batsman had the best performance and in which year his performance was poor. You don't have to search through a table and look for the highest and lowest values, so you can already see how bar graph makes information simple for us. So, when was the performance of the batsman the best? It was in 2002. Let's now study a bar graph. Reading a bar graph. Now, let us make sure we know how to read about a bar graph. Before we start drawing one, here we have number of children who passed the math competence exam in 2002, 2003 and 2004. Observe it and try to answer some questions based on this graph. In which year did the least number of children pass the exam? Here we have to find the least. That means the minimum. So we look for the bar which is shortest. That is this one. And what year is it? 2002. So the answer is in the year 2002. How many children passed in 2004? We first look at the bar that will tell us the data, that is 2004. Now we have to see what the value at the top of the bar is. So we follow the top to the left and see that it is 50. So that is the answer. 50 students passed. How many more children passed in 2004 than in 2003? We have to find the difference in the students in 2004 and 2003. So, first we locate the bars. This is for 2004 and this is for 2003. Now, we have to find the difference of the values of these bars. What is the difference? It is this, and that comes to 50 minus 40, which is equal to 10. So, 10 more students passed in 2004 than in 2003. Drawing a bar graph. With this data, we have years and population. We are going to have a population on y-axis and the years on the x-axis. So, let us put that in. Now, decide the scale on the y-axis. We have the population. Take a look at the values of population. They are all in table of 2. So, let us take 1 centimeter as 2 crores. On the y-axis. Now, let us mark the y-axis. We can just start at 0 and go ahead in steps of 2. And let's mark the x-axis. We are going to mark all the years on x-axis. Now look at the first entry. 1981. The population is 6 crores. This is 6 crores. And we draw a rectangle on 1981. What is the next one? 1991 and the population is 8 crores. This is 8 crores and we draw a rectangle here. What is next? 2001, the population is 10 crores. So, this is the level for 10 crores and we draw rectangle like this and that gives us the graph. And what title can give for this graph? Growth of population. Bar graph on a graph paper. We first draw two lines, horizontal, that is x-axis, and vertical, that is y-axis, which intersect at point 0. Scale 1 centimeter is equal to 10 units. Now place the length of the bars on y-axis and name of trees on the x-axis. Now we draw the vertical line with equal width with scale. For lemon, we draw vertical line up to 25 on the scale. Then draw line up to 50 for coconut. Similarly, for mango, draw up to 15. For neem, draw up to 45. For papaya, draw up to 20. Lines on the scale of vertical scales. Finally, we get a vertical bar graph. Next problem. Look and study the bar graph and answer the following questions. How much money does Ram require to make the monthly expenses? Monthly expenses of Ram's family are 5,000 plus, 3,000 plus, 2,500 plus, 1,500 plus, 1,000 plus, 2,000, which is equal to 14,000. On which item does Ram spend the most? Look at the graph. The highest peak of the bar is for house rent. So, Ram spends the most in house rent. How much does Ram spend on food and transport? Ram spent food and transport is equal to 2,500 plus 1,000, which is equal to 2,500 plus 1,000, which is equal to 3,500 rupees. Points to remember while drawing a bar graph. A graph should always be drawn to scale. Scale should be written in the upper right corner of the graph paper. The width of columns and bars can be any suitable width, but all columns in the same graph should have the same width. The distance between columns and the distance of first column from origin should always be same. The x and the y axis have to be marked with the quantities that are being plotted on them.